coming to you live from the backseat of a 1984 Holden Kingswood. It's time for Destiny Down Under.
Welcome to the 116th episode of the Destiny Down Under podcast. I am Log Power Slave, and as always, I am joined by none other than Mylan Games and Rabbi Time Sloth. How you going, dudes? Good? Good? Yeah? Look at his face. Just look at his angry face. That's a face that would make a lemon turn sour. That is bad.
So, do you want to give some fucking context to that name there?
Or do you just want to keep it as?
No, I'm happy to roll on with it, mate.
Right.
No, through the week there was an Australian show called it was Four Corners or whatever it was.
QA.
One of those. Yeah, QA. And they were talking. There was a rabbi gentleman on there, and he was speaking, but he was a dead ringer for Slothy. So there's just been this I don't know, assault going on in our group chat since then of just repeatedly posting a picture of this Jewish gentleman. So if you're out there, we don't know who you are. Someone shared it with me, so I've got no idea. But Sloth's now a rabbi, everyone. So it's time, happy Hanukkah and all that shit.
Thanks. Thanks. Shadow. Happy Hanukkah. You fuck.
Yeah, how you doing? What's been happening? Nothing big happened this week.
Well, look, right. Gambit Season of the Drifter released and has a lot of lore, like 6 lore books all came out. The writers had been talking to Baxter from Ishtar Collective. Everything was dumped on Ishtar Collective, which is cool now. They for those who don't know, they've got a really good working relationship now, between Destiny lore community and the writers in saying, or in how easy information is accessible, because Baxter gets everything from the API. So he checks with them, are you okay? What are you okay with going out when it goes live? Do you want me to hold anything back? There might be spoilers. And they just said, release it all, that's fine. But, then they made a post saying, if you read this entry, you're going to spoil the Allegiance quest for yourself. So, get that word out there and whatever. So that's cool. It's all out there. I haven't covered the stuff that you can't get in game, because at this stage, I think you can only get 3 of the books or 2 of the books.
There's...
and seven entries for the 9, and you can get 2 or 3 entries for Anor, and you can get all of the stolen intelligence.
2 or 3 entries for that, right?
Yeah, I think that's daily. I mean, it's been in the postmaster each day.
Yeah, anyway. Every time I go get it from the postmaster, but the ones from Zavala that sort of tend
Hang on. Are we actually seeing the postmaster deliver post for the first time ever?
For the
literally, yeah.
And not just holding weapons. I actually have a letter for you, Guardian.
Yeah, we're getting letters. I never thought about that. Yeah.
No, but the book, the Siva book from Zavala, the Stolen Intelligence.
Yeah,
very good read.
It's like a greatest hits of Destiny lore, that book, because it's kind of each story is its own thing that pertains to another greater story. Yeah. It's like the choice cards. It's fucking unreal.
I read all of them, and I think I wrote down about 7 different lore video topics, just because every entry had something. I was like, oh, that's new.
Content.
Content. So that was cool, and I've been working through the narrative previews that had a very controversial topic in there, which we can get to a bit later. I can sort of fill everybody in on the ringing from the lore community, which is fine. I mean, I'm over that guy.
When you told me about this, I was a bit sort of, how's your father? Because we were playing.
I don't know that we've spoken about it. So
Matt and I were playing Insurgency on Wednesday night or whenever the fuck it was, and he goes, "Have you heard about the what's got the lore community up in arms?" I'm like, you know what? I was like, I thought to myself, this is interesting, but I also thought to myself,
Just don't say anything about what it actually is because we'll do a thing later where we actually like.
Yeah.
force
No, I'm
it
not
into-
gonna,
okay.
no. I'm just saying that like Matt told me. I'm like, this is really interesting. You know, like we've got some people who are up in arms, and I was just like, wait, they're up in arms. What else is new? I don't care.
So, but what I was going with this story is I'm normally at home on release of the DLCs, and I had this really big meeting for PhD Land on that day, and so I was uber grumpy on Wednesday because not only I had to go to this massive meeting, and I was with like one of my international supervisors, and to pretty much summarize it, the meeting in a sentence was, I don't understand your article, rewrite it. So I was like, not only was I fucking not playing Gambit and not reading law, but I was just got fucking hammered by one of my supervisors. I'm like, back to the drawing board.
Back to the pile.
Yeah, great week then. Great week.
Yeah, that was my week.
That was like, yeah, my day was pretty similar in that I got absolutely smashed at work and then tried to just cram in all of the law I could read in my lunch break. And I think I
You
happened
did well, mate.
Yeah,
You
I-
read
I-
like
I
a
read
lot.
quick. I read quick. I don't read well, but I read quick.
Yeah.
Like when
we
I'm
know
forced to
you read
recite
quick, you just
things,
don't-
everyone, you know, like I just, you've all seen me do it here. I just, but yeah, I got through most of it and basically messaged Matt straight away. I'm like, I'm a fucking god.
Have you actually read all of the books?
Yeah.
Wow. I haven't even read, the only one I read was the Thorn one that, you know, you told me and then you wouldn't tell me the conclusion, which is good. Good on you. Like,
Yeah, hey.
well done. I'm proud of you.
Prick
Spoiler,
tease.
spoiler warnings between mates. Here
Law
we
prick
go.
teasing.
Yeah.
He's like he's wanting to get fully erect. He's wanting to, and you just let him down.
Oh God.
We're not that kind of
Law will
friends,
find
Sloth.
you.
We're not that kind of friends.
But if we were, that's how you would do it. Just talk some law to me, Sloth.
So last Saturday, post podcast, like I had all my ACs done recently because it's hot as fuck here in Satan's asshole. And my wife and my girls are out doing things, so I thought, fuck it, because my wife and I moved the king bed from our main bedroom to one of the guest bedrooms, so she could sleep with the aircon on without it leaking on her. And so I thought, fuck it, I'll do something nice, and I've moved it back for her. And I thought, oh shit, shoulders a bit sort of how's your father? Shoulders a bit, yeah. So I waited till I got home, came back. Made myself a coffee about 6 p.m. that night, reached up into the cupboard, get a bottle of milk, felt snap, snap, twang in my shoulder.
That's like a really
Oh,
bad
mate.
breakfast cereal.
Yeah. So it feels
Rubbing snap,
the
crackle, pop,
ori-
snap, snap, twang.
the original doctor that I saw, he reckons that I've removed all the anchors keeping my rotator cuff.
Oh, man.
And the bit of muscular tissue that connects the pec to the shoulder has snapped clean in half.
Well,
So
you know what? You got a new, got a new theme song. Get a new theme song out of it. Slothy's got to go to rehab for his Yeah.
what's the Friends of Rom song about the my girlfriend makes me go to rehab or whatever it was?
Oh god. Yeah, let's not get into friends or we'll get. That's a surefire way of getting kicked off Twitch, I think, because some of their songs are fucking incredible. But Australian.
I feel like Slothy. I've dislocated my shoulder 3-4 times before I had it operated on, and it's not pleasant. It's really
Not
shitty.
particularly. So when we jumped into the Discord call before these guys are like, just put your sling on. No one cares that you put your arm in a sling, because I've had my camera off all week because I don't like people seeing. I'm weird like this. I don't like people seeing weakness, physical weakness.
Oh, I see weakness every time I look at you, so it doesn't matter for me. Mainly mental weakness, but it's okay.
Oh, Jesus.
He's giving me that look. We better fucking change the subject.
Let's move on.
Just
Let's
quickly
move on.
before we dive into law, I set up the affiliate status for the podcast on Twitch, and I didn't realize that I'd actually set it live. So if you subscribe, and there's no emotes yet, I wasn't going to set it live until we had emotes, but I guess you can know in good faith that over the next few weeks, Keg will be drip feeding some of the most absurd and stupid emotes you can imagine into our belongings. So I've seen.
Do you have any idea? Like, do you have any sneak peeks of what they might be?
I know what a couple of them are. I can tell you, I can confirm 100%.
Tell us one.
Well, there is 100% going to be a Bushka emote. A fucking
what?
Bushka. A man at arms.
Oh, Bushka, like man at arms, Bushka.
Yep. So I don't know. We'll see what else we get. I don't know. I just said go nuts, whatever. I wasn't expecting it to be fucking live, but anyway, here we are. This is the world we live in.
My experience with telling artists go nuts, whatever, it either goes two ways. You get a really amazing product, or you get something like, yeah, I wasn't really expecting that, but I'll take it.
Yeah, it's like when Rick did my alerts for my channel. I just said, yeah, tell him. I just told him go nuts. There is an alert for a raid. Is you have been raided. Assume the position.
See, that's what I mean. But like, I don't know. I've been doing this with Keg since like the year 2002, so I'm pretty confident it's fine. We're gonna be okay. All right, let's roll some music, come back, and we're gonna give our impressions on the start of Season of the Drifter. Yeah. Good. Right.
So, before do you want to go through the patch notes real quick and then give our impressions? Or do you want to give
have you seen the patch notes? I don't think it's even possible to go through them real quick. They're kind of like, I put them in the run sheet more as like, if we need to look something up, we know that we've got
if
it
we
there.
need to reference them, yeah.
But I don't know that it'll be particularly entertaining for us to sit here and read through
through numbers, going, oh, there's numbers here and there's numbers.
Yeah.
This number's changed. And all
the
that
minutiae
sort of
of patch notes. Sorry, is
Yeah, there's a bit, isn't there?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot.
The Season of the Drifter.
Let's talk about Gambit
What we've seen thus far is that we've got the pinnacle weapons, the Recluse, the Oxygen SR3, and the 21% Delirium.
Yes,
That's from all three vendors. We've got Gambit Prime. We've got the Reckoning, and
new map.
The
Gambit Prime.
The new map for Gambit Prime. The thing that I saw on Twitter before about they're bringing back the other two maps for the original Gambit, so Cathedral of Light and whatever the other one that they turned that they turned off because the blockers were busted. I can't remember
map, you mean?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, because wasn't there meant to be two maps Gambit Prime?
They turned off Kelsgrave and Cathedral of Light because blockers weren't being sent through correctly or something like that. They weren't showing up on the opposition side, so that nobody could bank. So they've now turned those back on, and there's, as we said before, there is a fuck ton of lore.
There's a lot.
I reckon they need to start billing them as like lore expansions. Also, you get a bit on the game as well if you turn it on.
I'm really happy with how.
Of course you are.
Oh yeah, of course. I mean, I'm a bit fucking biased to be honest.
Content.
Like, not only it's weird. There's a lot of content for lore and not much to really play. Like once you've done Gambit Prime and the Reckoning, like the rest is grinding. So like for lore content creators, it's awesome because you don't. Sometimes when a game comes out or a DLC comes out, you've got to play 15, 20 hours and just make sure you got everything. Now it's like you can play a couple hours, do Gambit Prime, do Reckoning. Yep, I know what this is about, and then just start reading.
I think it's one of those things, and it's one of those things that was like Destiny was absolutely maligned for back in the day. It was like, what, to get the backstory of the game, you got to go on the fucking internet and read it. What is that? And it's somehow gone from being a weakness of the game to a strength. In this, like, it is now in game, sure, but now like it was literally the first exposure to this expansion that I had. Well, not expansion, this content that I had was going on Ishtar and reading it all. And I was so far, I was absolutely frothing by the time I got home just to jump in and play.
It's a good experience, isn't it? Like
Yeah.
to read, like I, sometimes the lore does ruin it, but it's actually really exciting reading it when it hasn't happened in game yet too. There's two sides of that coin. I think it, like I still remember one of my fondest memories is about reading about Marasov dying before taking King Drop, and I was like, "What?" Like I read it in the card. I'm like, "She gonna die?" And of course, opening scene, Awoken battle with like Oryx. Catch you later.
Did you have a cry by yourself?
Fucking catch you later.
Yeah,
He's
I mean,
in there having a crank.
I think I might go about it that way from now on. I think I might actually do it that way. That might be my new approach to it, because I am notoriously shit for ever reading anything when I'm actually playing Destiny.
In game. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I'm shocking for it. So I think I might. And if you're wired like me, I'd suggest going and, put aside an hour and a half or 2 hours or whatever and just bumble your way through it all. You probably won't understand.
Not everyone
all
has
of it.
time during their workday log.
Yeah. Well,
yeah, but I mean, that's the thing though. I mean, I think that's the best way to enjoy it. It's like, it's just slack off a little bit at work if you can. Like, have an extra long lunch break. Bring up Ishtar on your phone.
Motherfucker, he always has an extra long lunch break. He goes to lunch at 11:30, doesn't come back into work until fucking half 3.
12 until 1, mate. I'm on the fucking, don't you worry about me. And you know what I do in my lunch break? You know how I've all of a sudden become heaps more productive with the music stuff? It's because I've got a laptop that I take to work and I work on fucking music stuff every day on my lunch break while everyone else does like uncool shit like going to the gym or whatever the fuck. I just sit there and just do your fucking headphones on.
And that's why we're all fat.
Yep.
Because we all do that.
I think, in regards to someone just said, Nick said in chat, like visual storytelling and obviously there's no real cut scenes and that kind of thing. I think
I miss the cutscenes.
Do you know what I would really like is, this is too expensive, but one of the things I did enjoy about Anthem is when you speak to an NPC, it's still in game, but I feel like it's more interactive, the cutscene. When you speak to like the Drifter or whatever, and they just sort of just like, whoop, they just sort of like slide in and like text comes up.
It's like a visual novel. It's just there and then there and then,
And they still have voice acting there, but it's not as interactive. And I feel it'd be cool if there was an in-between point for NPC interaction that wasn't just like text feed. And it wasn't quite a cutscene, but just had that little bit more like NPC interaction when you like spoke to the Drifter. It goes into first person anyway, like just to be a little bit more animated or something,
So he's moved into the apex of the tower. So he's got his thing.
You got apex on the brain, mate. The atrium or whatever it's. Is it the apex?
Is it an annex?
Annex.
No, sorry,
it's the annex.
Not the
it's like the side of a caravan. That's the material bit. It's just that annex.
It's the annex of the tower and all that sort of thing. He's got his little his bank looking thing with his take any juice in it and all that sort of shit. Gambit Prime. So we'll get into that because that's a massive part of this particular, like in the last week's pod.
It's
Gambit
the meat.
Prime,
it's
Reckoning.
the meat. Reckoning's the potatoes, right? Isn't it?
So I jumped into Gambit Prime with you and Nick and I can't remember who else, Ats maybe, and it was fun. It was fun. It was so you still got to go around bank moats and all that sort of thing. The spawns of the enemy invaders are quite random, which is nice. The role-playing aspect that they really pushed at the beginning it's not pronounced yet.
Well, it's not really prominent yet because the gear you can get is not.
Yeah.
So for those who don't know, the gear sets you get have like a tiered system. And so a Reaper set might be Reaper +1, And when you've got the full gear set on and you've all got Reaper +1, then you have a total of 5 points, and that unlocks like the first,
The first tier.
the first tier reward. And to get the next tier reward, you need Reaper +6. You need at least one of them to be a Reaper +2, and all the rest to be at least +1s. So the roles aren't really pronounced yet because we
No
need
one's got
higher
the gear yet. Yeah.
You need a higher gear set.
Even the smaller invaders, the smaller blockers feel tougher. They feel tough. The medium blockers feel tough. The captains feel tough. They're a hell of a lot tougher than what they were in original Gambit. And one thing I've found, if you're playing the Sentry, if you're on the point with the blockers, the moats don't disappear. They're already banked. You are protecting the bank, but you are also in the middle of the thing getting shot at.
Because one of the things I didn't realize, it's only when 2 blockers come through that I start depleting the bank. If you just put 1 through, it doesn't do it.
Yeah, I think it's like there's a certain,
maybe it's that. Maybe
I
it's
think
that.
it's the tier that they
that.
are affects it too.
Yeah,
I don't know if there's a proximity thing, like if you're actively clearing them, that doesn't drain them. I'm not too sure.
I don't know. If there is, it wouldn't surprise me, because if you're out there clearing them and you're on the point with them, you're out in the open. And as Susan said in the chat, sorry, I butchered your name.
Susan.
Yeah, I reckon it's Susan.
Well, Japanese TSU 2, right?
Yeah, it's Japanese. Japanese Susan from Japan.
So if you're on the point, you're out in the open. You've got crowd control. You've got the goblins sucking each other off. You've got fire and all that sort of thing too. So it's pretty rough. It's pretty rough.
You know, my takeaway of it is that they went into this saying that this was like Gambit amplified in just about every way. And I think that in that sense, it's absolutely that. I think that, everything's a bit harder and all that sort of stuff. And the Primevals are absolutely savage. And there's the mechanic with the envoys as well, where you've got to kill the 2, and then the 3rd drops the well that you've got to be standing in to do heaps more damage. I think it'll take a little while, and I see a lot of people getting frustrated with it on Twitter and whatnot, saying, like Blueberries are just standing there shooting the fucking Primeval, and not
getting in the well,
not getting in the well, or not even really trying to complete the mechanics or whatever. And there's always going to be idiots around, but I think like the first game I played, I had Nick in my ear telling me what to do because I had no idea. I'm like, what are all these markers? So there is a fair chance that maybe you're still getting someone that's playing it for the first time. And, like as much as it's going to take, a couple of games for them to really get their head around it, I hope that in a week or two's time, we start seeing, people building legitimate strategies and starting to grow into the game type, because it really is, dude, just the amount that you can punish a team with an invader when they're in their prime.
Invaders, I feel
let me tell you about
invaders are super influential now. I feel like they I know they did before, but I feel like invaders now make or break the game.
Let me tell you something that happened on stream when I played it with the people from my community. I had Kieran, Kami, Kydrak, and myself. Kai was an invader, and we've played with Kai before, and he's a very, very good PvPer. They banked their 100 before we could even get the 25. We were having a shocker, a fucking absolute Barry Crocker, and he kept them from winning. We won that.
Yeah,
with less than 25 moats in the bank.
I feel like there needs to be some balancing with the invader spam if you get your Primeval out first. Because I don't know, maybe it just take. Well, this is what I think needs to happen. I think no changes should happen until everyone's had a really good crack at it.
Absolutely,
because first impressions are usually wrong impressions. So once people start working out how to melt the Primeval more quickly, and I've definitely seen some better strats already emerge with cluster rockets and all the, all this kind of stuff. And it's like, okay, maybe the invader spam will be less pronounced just because we weren't doing as much damage as we probably
Well, it
should
could have
have
been the opposition team as well. Like he was using a sniper and all that sort of thing. Like it was fucking ridiculous. So when the three of us and Nick were playing, Matt and I were using fucking Wardcliff Coil, which with 115% buff to PvE damage against bosses and up to 160 against smaller targets, rally barricade, transversive steps. Like we were just piling it on. And then there's people in the chat are saying like Lord of Wolves,
I didn't realize Lord of Wolves is busted apparently.
Yeah, it is apparently really, really busted.
I think my main sort of thing that I think could change is, and maybe this is just because we hadn't got used to it yet and we weren't doing it quite correct, but I never really felt the damage cycles. It was always like the last damage cycle you did all your damage. Do you know?
Yeah.
Like I just feel like
that's why it's the last damage cycle.
Yeah, but it was like it was more dependent on that stack of. Yeah. But it was more dependent on that stack of Primeval Slayer than it was on you actually doing it down.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So,
and that allowed people to invade numerous times because that was so prolonged.
Yeah, I was watching some people this morning, and the initial strat was first damage phase, primaries and greens. Second damage phase, primaries and greens. Third damage phase, all out, fucking go for it. And they weren't standing on the supercharged damage buff that the envoys drop in the set locations.
Oh, really?
They were going right up underneath the Primeval with Lord of Wolves and a Warlock
Rift.
And a Warlock, the Empowering Rift, like the big Empowering Rift thing.
Because I imagine it was the part of the reason to have a well, or like a well that's always placed, is to sort of get rid of that like shotgun spam melt, to people to be further away. And, that's why you start seeing people use different weapons because they're at distance now. But then again, some of the wells are really close too. But those big Primevals are like one-shot you when they stomp you if you're not standing in like a Radiant well as well.
And a lot of people are still sticking to the original meta of EP shotgun, heavy hand cannon, and Thunderlord, and getting by just fine. So
anyway, I enjoyed. I think something, I don't know, give it a little bit more time, but I think something's a little bit out of balance still with.
So weapon drops are few and far between with what I've seen as well. Some people get them, some people don't. I know this is Destiny. It's kind of a mute statement, but you have to be very, very lucky, like streamer RNG type of situations to get the weapons.
I didn't even realize there were specific weapons for Gambit Prime.
Yeah.
Obviously, I haven't seen it yet.
Then there's, and then you get you do your first match of Gambit Prime. You go see the Drifter. He gives you a moat transfiguration synthesizer.
A mode synthesizer.
Yeah, which you go back to. You go back to the hall. What's it called? The derelict. Back to the derelict. Go to the hall. Activate the thing. Put it in the thing. There you go.
You jump through the. This is how it feels to chew 5 gum bit, and then because I love those bits whenever they're in that raid and all that sort of stuff. I just love the excuse to say that, but it's cool to be going back to an area that we've visited before in the 9 sort of auditorium place, but I can't get my head around how it all works.
It's called the hall.
Yeah.
On the derelict. So it's like, and when they had the Vidoc, they were like, you will go inside the Drifter's Ball. And so I don't know if that area's literally inside, because the Drifter's Ball we know about, it's meant to be an Ascendant plane. Like he made a pocket universe. That's a pocket universe in there.
Is that Titus?
Yeah, he's at the window. There's a thunderstorm coming. I'm going to let my
All right,
buff
mate.
head dog in, but I'll be right back.
Is he like, please, Dad, I'm gonna die?
He's at the
Can
window.
you show us? Can you show
No,
us?
I'm not moving the camera, but I'll bring you in.
Oh,
here.
okay.
So I might be wrong here, and I'll probably be dragged over the coals for putting it. But we go into the Drifter's Ball. I don't think it's an ascended plane. I think it might be. It was a prison. It was a prison for all of the taken things that he's got it.
Well, it says that.
that
It
is-
says that he made a pocket universe.
Yeah, it's a pocket universe for all the prison for the prison and
Take
shit.
it.
But I think with the cutscene from fucking the old lady missing a sock, the 9 have turned it into a portal into unknown space, because it does say it's unknown space, and unknown space is where the 9.
Well, yeah, then you
operated.
jump into that portal section, right? So you go
Correct.
into the hall, and then you jump into the portal,
Yeah,
and then you go into like another 9 area.
yeah.
Oh, I don't think I've ever seen your dog before.
Hey, There you
Oh,
go.
he's cute.
I'm a big
Ladies
wuss.
and gentlemen,
Right.
that's Titus. That's Log's English Staffy.
Oh. So interesting things that you notice in there. Firstly, this is where you get all the 9 entries. You can find 7, I believe, from what I know, in between the derelicts and actually in the hall in the 9 area. You can just pick up the collectibles, and that's how you get the lore book called Dust, which is about the 9. And it's about Zerd too, which is pretty cool. I haven't actually read all of it yet. And what else was that? Oh, the other interesting thing is, you know, the 9 symbol, which is the 3 circle.
Yeah,
It has that big triangle above that portal, and there's only
Yeah.
1 circle, which is sort of like the first tier, because this is going to be like 3 tiers. So I don't really know lore-wise how this all connects, but it's interesting that the 9 symbol is only like at 1/3 for the first week. Has it changed now? Have you been in? Is it 2 circles there now?
no idea.
I haven't
the
been
Reckoning?
back in. I haven't
Has
been
anyone
back
been in
in.
the Reckoning today since the reset?
Has anyone done a tier 2 reckoning?
So apparently, so you go down, and then you cross a bridge that goes towards the triangle, and 2 circles.
Huh. Huh.
2 circles now. There you go. Confirmed.
There you go.
Mm.
There you go. Eds, the reliable Eds. Actually, while we're on the subject of Eds, can you please set me up a straw poll? I want to prove a point. Can you ask whether people who own Forsaken do or do not have the annual pass? I need to know this information for a point I'm going to come around to once we finish talking about all this stuff. So
Okay.
he'll share a link shortly, and I'm sure that you want to go in there and have your say. I think
Anyway.
the Reckoning, on the whole, is I quite enjoyed what we got to play the other night. Now, I haven't done the tier 2 yet, and I know that Sass has done it and got through it because he's a mutant and whatever, but I'm looking forward to the challenge of trying to work my way up through it. I think
It is hard not in a team.
I think
Well, there's also this as well, is that every day is a rotating burn. Every day is a rotating skull, whatever it is you want to call
yeah,
it.
and they had glass
So
on it.
So when we first did it, it was the one with the elements changing.
Yeah.
Prism. You had Prism and something and heavy ammo buff. And then when Kieran come in, I jumped in post 3 a.m. Post 3 a.m. for me. It was glass and fucking brawler.
That is insane. It's
It
like,
were vicious. It were fucking vicious, mate. I'll tell you what.
but it's pointless. It's two perks that should never be together because you basically have to completely expose yourself to one to be able to use the other.
Yeah.
It's just nuts.
So it made things a hell of a lot more difficult, which was good because I think the reason why they put Prism on to begin with was to introduce people to it, and then to save face against what happened at the start of Black Armory and people complaining about it's too hard. It was made a little bit easier by Prism. Then they went, yeah, all right, you've had a taste of it now. well, I'm not going to go with that analogy, but it's like you've had a taste now. Now you got to hit it hard to get something out of it. You know.
I tell you what, I was enjoying Reckoning because I was using Risk Runner and it just constantly procs
Oh yeah.
its perk with the taken arc bolts, and you just never have to reload and just chains lightning everywhere. It's amazing.
You were giggling quite evilly while we were playing.
I was giggling a lot, man.
I didn't click on to what you were doing.
It's like seeing you don't get to see how many kills you had. I was interested to see how many kills I got with that Risk Runner.
Yeah, I mean, maybe that. I mean, that is another thing that they've brought into Gambit Prime is the post game stat screen with a heap more stats in it, so you can really point out your fire team and call people bludgers and whatnot. If there's an American word for bludger, slacker.
But have you guys done it solo? Have you done Reckoning solo?
No, yes, once, and it was
the
awful.
matchmaking?
It was punishing.
Yeah. So when we all were in a team, we got it 100% of the time. We completed it 100% of the time.
Yeah.
Got our gear out of the synthesizer. The Gambit Prime gear came out. Whatever. When I went in solo, I think I did try to. Well, the first time I went in, I was collecting the lore stuff, so I let my team down. So we weren't going to get it because I was running around collecting all the lore while they're trying to do the Reckoning. And then the second and the third time, we got nowhere close, and I felt like I was the only person shooting stuff in there.
Well, this is the thing, and everyone we like to play with each other.
For those of you just listening along, Sloth did insert a pretty cheeky wink at the end of that sentence. So I feel like I need a shower quite drastically. So yeah,
we play as a group quite a bit. That's even fucking worse when you think about it. When someone goes down or we know what we have to do, we communicate that and we get it done. A lot of blueberries, a lot of players don't like to play as a group. They like to play solo and all that sort of thing. They like to use use match made. They like to be in the match made thing. They've wanted more match made activity, so that's cool. But people are only just figuring out what needs to be done. People may not be able to figure it out as quickly as others. People may not be as skilled as others, or they're doing what Mylan did, what Matty did, and fucking letting his team down by going to hunt for lore instead of doing it in a team with your mates like a dickhead. But
also I think week one, it just takes a while for all the systems to sort of diffuse, from the people that get in and play stuff straight away to.
What did you just say?
Diffuse.
Thank you.
I'll pay that. I think that was fine.
But do you know what I mean? I sometimes I always think everyone watches YouTube videos about this. Like if you play
everyone
Destiny,
watches Twitch
exactly.
Everyone makes jumps like that, and when they go, "Oh, fucking blueberries," just watch Twitch and figure out how to do it. Well, it's like that. It's like that fucking viral tweet that went around a while ago, a couple of weeks ago, and saying that it was completely random about the fucking heroic public events. Some people just don't know.
Yeah.
Some people just don't know.
So good.
Yeah. And you know what? Good. We can sit here and laugh for them being a fucking ignorant dumb fuck.
Yeah.
But sometimes people just don't know.
Yeah, and that's what I was getting at with the mechanics, in Gambit and stuff too. So I think that, it's just a further expounding on that, in a couple of weeks, we're not going to see these issues and people will have picked up the lore, and I think people will have a far greater sense of what they need to do to complete the Reckoning tasks, and will have increased in light level to be able to more effectively.
Yeah, because I was going to say, is there any... there's no light level restriction on going into Reckoning. You just need to have a mode, right?
It's well, you don't even have to have a mode.
You can just do it for nothing.
Yeah, you can do it for nothing. So you go in there
to click on it. You need, or is it the synthesizer you need?
You need the synthesizer.
Yeah,
okay, because I remember when I first went, there was something that was stopping me.
That's why they said
made that quest.
Do the Gambit, Do the Gambit Prime, go see the Drifter, do Reckoning. They made that abundantly clear, and they made it so clear that even the person who has fucking absolute cotton buds in their ears and fucking the darkest glasses in the world could figure it out, you know? So it's there. And then you go in and you can go in with your team, you can wager your moats or not. So tier 1, if you wager a moat, you get your moat back. Tier 2, I'm guessing you lose your moat, or it downgrades to a.
Someone
tier
said
1.
to me it was a chance of returning. I don't know.
I don't know
done
if
it
it's a
yet.
chance or not because I've failed 3 times.
Yeah, I've got mine
I've failed
100%.
3 times.
Yeah, same.
And then you've got tier 3, which may downgrade the mode or may fucking take it off you completely, and then you have to play more Gambit, which is fine. So, and that moves into the gameplay cycle. You play Gambit to get to get the tags for the armor sets. I guess I can't remember exactly what they're called.
They're just called modes. Yeah.
Yeah, the mode. So the Sentry mode, Invader mode, Collector mode, Reaper mode. About 15,000. Yeah. Sorry, insurance stuff.
Multitasking sloth.
And so you get those moats pretty quickly, and then you've got to. I'm guessing you've got to it's a numbered system. So tier 2 you use more moats, tier 3 you use more moats again.
Yeah.
Which is it keeps the gameplay cycle going. So if you want to collect more armor, you've got to play more Gambit.
I mean, the armor looks really cool. Anyway, the Warlocks. I got the full set. I like the Warlock, man. The Warlock set.
I think of the 3 of them, the Warlock looks the coolest. I don't like the Titan set particularly, but I'll wear it because it gives me perks. But
I haven't really seen it.
So that's the gameplay cycle, and as Noisebringer in the chat said, you've got 670 to complete a round, like recommended 670 for tier 2, recommended 680 to 690 for tier 3.
Oh, really? Is that how high it jumps?
Yeah.
Jesus.
So now my initial thought process, and I actually said this to you guys to begin with, and I'm going to be very direct and very careful with how I say this. My want to play Destiny and play this new content is at an all-time low. I love the content. Yeah. I love Prime. I love the lore. I love the gameplay. But this is, I am at an all-time low of wanting to play Destiny.
I get what you're saying. It feels like something's missing. I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
Because I like everything they've put out. I like Game of Prime.
I love everything they put out.
I think the armor sets are cool. There's a ton of lore. Do you think it's just not enough new stuff? Do you think that's what it is?
I don't know.
Do you want me to tell you what I think it is? Because you've just absolutely served it up for me to make the point that I was going to make earlier on with the straw poll stuff. I think right now, the biggest challenge that Destiny faces isn't in developing this new content. It's in the integration of any new content into the old content. And the reason I put the straw poll up, whether people have bought Forsaken and then gone on to purchase the annual pass or not. Now I'll quickly have a look, but I already know the answer. So 100% of the people, and admittedly there's only 23 people responded, it's a small sample number, but 100% of the people who voted on that said that they purchased Forsaken and then the annual pass. The thing that I am really struggling with Destiny at the moment is the fact that we have everything is sort of sectioned off into these sterile little events and nothing really flows over because they're juggling like the people who are just playing the base version of Destiny, the people who are playing all of the old fucking expansions, the people who just have Forsaken but not the annual pass.
And the people who have everything.
And then the people who have everything. Now, I literally only know one account, and it's not even a person because it's just Sassy's second account, that doesn't have the annual pass to play all of the content. For me, you look at something like Gambit Prime, and it's fucking cool. I love it. It's great fun. The Reckoning is incredible. But could you imagine if that whole system was integrated into Gambit as a structure, like instead of it being 3 sort of scattered events? And it became like a whole, because that's what I feel like is missing. Like you look at something like the Black Armory, it kind of exists in this little bubble off to the side, and it doesn't matter if you do it, doesn't matter if you don't, because it's got to exist like that because of the content model.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, like I think, and I mean, I've been thinking about this for 6 months probably, that I honestly still believe that Destiny would be better served in a fucking like a subscription model rather than an actual content purchase releases. And I honestly hope this is a soft trial for it. I know a lot of people don't, you know, Sloth and I have very differing views on that. I'm not going to sit here and say that I like push for it, but in my opinion, it would be better served under that because we're seeing things that they're doing great things that have, you know, that everyone's playing anyway, but they don't have the broadest reach that they probably could if everyone was on the same level. Like if Gambit was one big integrated system and it didn't, you know, like you had to complete 3 Gambit games to get whatever, and you had a consumable that allowed you to go into a game of Gambit Prime and then get your gear, and then you could bring all of the stuff back that you get out of the Reckoning after that. And it was a big pyramid leading up to this pinnacle activity, and they could run it that way. I think it absolutely integrated. And then you look at, you know, things like the Crucible. I mean, they can't bring back trials or anything like that and have it be part of an annual pass unless it's for free. So that you're not particularly well served doing that right now.
I do agree with you. I agree with you saying. I don't know if I don't think that alone would solve motivation issues for D2.
Yeah.
And I think chat's put, you know, I think everyone's getting around to the expectation of what a season pass includes. And from what I've seen on Twitter and general comments is things like every vendor should have a new change of gear, right? There should be new gear sets for all the vendors, you know, especially if we're not getting a campaign. Like all that shit should all be different. Obviously, we should get a bunch of new exotics. We should have a couple new strikes, some new Crucible maps, and you know, so I think there needs to be something new, or there needs to be more new stuff in.
I think
season pass. That's what I sort of been saying.
That's partly the point I'm trying to make, in that, like, rather than be sort of having to create these little individual events in little individual areas for each seasonal release, right? Each season, you know, you look at Gambit Prime, it's just Gambit on crack. Really, it's nothing new. It's not reinventing the wheel. It's just a expansion on a concept that we already have. It really belongs with Gambit. So instead of them having to go and look at, you know, oh, how do we do this? We've got to do a new map for this mode. We've got to then do the Reckoning, and we've got to have, you know, this really heavy mechanic sort of drive between the two to then get these armor that's going to buff your stats in the game. That's fucking cool. But it's a lot of work to be putting into something that is a seasonal thing. It should be the sort of thing that's just there for forever. And
well, the thing is, it's more like foundation, like, and I think that's maybe why Season of Adrift is a bit light. Like, it's very much setting up foundation for other things. You know, introducing a new game mode is freaking awesome, but I imagine that took a lot of resources to develop. But now that it's there, you don't need to develop it again, right? Like now you can add stuff to it. You know,
that's what I'm saying. And like, you look at the amount of content that is already in Destiny. Like the redundancy is just, it staggers me. Like, why would you go and do the Leviathan now? There's fucking 3 raids, a raid and 2 raid layers sitting there doing nothing for anyone, really. And there's all of the old school armors and all of the sort of shit that, you know, you can't roll anything other than you got to print them out of your collections, really, to be able to use them. So, you know, like, I think that there's a lot that they could do to reinvigorate people's interest without necessarily having to pump it full of completely fucking brand new, you know, bells and whistles stuff like Gambit Prime and Reckoning, as much as they're cool. So if we could get to a point where there was a greater amount of things to do to begin with, I think they need to invent less and can focus more on giving people things to chase rather than things to do, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I still I feel like we're in like foundation setting mode, and we're not going to see like the full realization of what Destiny is. And I think that's cool, but it is going to hurt the player base just because it's taken so long to get to this point of basically rebuilding the foundation from Destiny 1. You know, they ripped up the whole foundation and we started over. And
why
now
reinvent the wheel?
I don't know.
I think
Reinventing-
there was.
This is why I don't want there to be a Destiny
Reinventing-
3. This is why I don't want there to be a Destiny 3. I don't want to start again.
Destiny 2. What are we? Was it year 2? What are we in year 2? Year 3?
Year 2.
I mean, year 2. We're in year two, and they've basically reinvented content. So they in effect have reinvented the wheel. Now, coming from where I spent a lot of money on a subscription-based system, where you have to pay for the content and then you pay for the subscription, that would only work on PC. It wouldn't work on console because you've also got to pay for internet access on your console. You've got to pay for your PlayStation Plus, or you've got to pay for your Xbox Live. Now, if they, as much as I hate to say it, if they went for the game is free to play base, and you only have the base, you don't get to play PvP unless it's PvP with other base players. You don't get to play PvE unless it's with PvE players. And they went to, and I can't believe I'm fucking saying this, but a EA Premier type of situation where you pay for the game, you get all of the content, whether it's a yearly, a monthly, or whatever subscription. And if that runs out, then you go back to the fucking base game stuff. And then they can focus on what you were saying, Log.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not advocating one or another. There's people that are a hell of a lot smarter than me that work in this industry and know it inside and out. And I would 100% back their play, and I will continue to do so. I've done it up to this point. I'm just saying that, like, the frustrating thing for me is that the amount of inbuilt redundancy.
Yeah.
Like, we're just screaming for content all the time, and there's fucking content there. It's just sitting there gathering dust, doing nothing. And it frustrates me because I don't dislike Leviathan. Like, I don't dislike
Put it this way,
that
right?
content. I'd do it if I had a reason to. I just don't.
So if Season of the Drifter gave you all new armor sets from each vendor, including, because that would include fucking Robot Callus. That would include, what's his name? What's the sweeper bot's name?
Benedict.
That would include Benedict.
Yeah.
If you could get a cool new armor set from Benedict with Season of the Drifter, would that be enough encouragement to go back and do Leviathan?
Yeah, and if they brought up the challenge, if they brought it up to level.
Yeah, and it drops as powerful level.
For me, yeah. Or they rejig the guns even. Like, they could take it season about for all I care. It's not like, let's be real, Destiny's about getting shit and like wearing shit more than it's about. That's what people are striving for. You go on Reddit right now, you'll find a fucking cheat sheet for how to get the new Vanguard bloody pinnacle weapon as quickly as possible because people want the new stuff. That's what it's about. Yeah. So for me, I think that, like, don't get me wrong, Gambit Prime, The Reckoning are incredible. And I think if they were integrated into Gambit, it'd be even more incredible because now Gambit's in this awkward place where, like, why would you just play?
Wants to play it.
Why would you? I mean, I didn't want to play it. I was coming in here cranky up until an hour before the podcast because I'm like, I have to go back to Gambit to get I needed the ship to complete my collection to then go and do the quest to get Malfeasance and unlock Dredgen. But now I have to go back to normal Gambit because the meatball doesn't appear in Gambit Prime. So I've got to do that until it magically happens. So I went back, I had the shits, I thought I'll put one game in and I fucking got the meatball and got it. So I don't really have a valid complaint. But if you're still chasing that stuff, you're ultimately forced to play Gambit, not the new content in Gambit Prime to get something. You know what I mean? Like, but if it was all part of the one fucking thing, it'd be incredible. Everyone would be loving it, you know? Like, so I'm certainly not criticizing where we are now. I just think that, you know, the model itself has dictated the way they've been forced to release content. I just hope that future stuff comes out in a way that we see greater integration between activities, because I like the way Gambit Prime and The Reckoning kind of play off with each other. They're two separate things, distinctly separate things, but they have an effect on each other. I would like to see that expanded.
I can see people. Can you solo Reckoning? You can, can't you?
No, you can't solo. I guess. You can't solo queue it.
Oh yeah, you can't. You can't choose. You can't choose to go on by yourself.
Well, I can see people solo queuing and two people just stay at the top on top of the like they don't fucking get in and feel what it's like to chew 5 gum. One person gets in and they will go through like your Glads and your Slayerages and your CGs of the world will go through and solo all of that, and they will be getting the content out of it. But will people be wanting to do that over time?
Look, I think they're a 1%. They're the 1%ers of the community. Like, is once everyone's got a set of armor that they can use for Gambit Prime, are they really going to be going in there and playing the Reckoning to what? I mean, maybe if they're chasing weapon drops or something. Is there even weapon drops?
I think this comes back to this comes back to this thing about they put all this time into making something really cool, and then it becomes redundant. And in my opinion, in a loot and shoot, the way that you make it less redundant is you have to update the loot pools. So, so when something changes, you have to give a reason to go back into Reckoning, and that means updating that loot pool, because that's the whole reason you go in there.
That's another thing right there as well, is that there's only so many times you can reinvent how a fucking sniper rifle looks. There's only so many fucking times you can reinvent how a hand.
Nah, I disagree. It's infinite. It's creative, man.
It's creative, but it's like you've got your fucking barrel where the bullets go. You've got your slide where the fucking where it fires around, and you got your firing pin. You've got your trigger.
But you say that, and then you have exotics that shoot robotic spiders, and you have anarchy that shoots like electric webs. It's
okay,
this
is Destiny, man. This is Destiny. Give it a fucking cool name. People want it. Doesn't matter what it is.
But this is the thing, is what I'm getting at, is that the exotic loot pool, while cool looking and cool firing and all that sort of thing, it's not the be all end all. People can only equip one exotic, can't they?
Yeah, I hear what you.
Somewhere in here, there's a very good middle ground, and we're completely incapable of finding it.
I think in a loot, if you have the philosophy of a loot and shoot to say that there is a finite amount of loot that you can create as a company, then you might as well just stop making the game.
Well, that's not exactly true. That's not what I'm saying. But there is only finite designs of what you can say. So the loot pool, the perk system, they can come up with random shit all the time. They can. They really, really can. But the looks of the weapons, the looks of the armor and all that sort of thing, you are still going to look like a Titan. Is still going to look like a fucking buff dude or dudette wearing fucking all of their clothing and all of their pots and pans stuck to them. A Warlock is still going to look like
they still have their visual cue.
Who was wearing a fucking
but I don't think that particularly plays into the fact that people will chase new gear where new gear is on offer. I don't think like anyone comes into Destiny and goes, "Nah, I'm just happy with what the stuff I've got." I think that's what it's about. It's about the chase.
That brings up another valid point. You can chase it, but this is the thing. Like the meta changes, but people still sit and use the same old weapons. There are people who I watch on the regular.
Who cares? Who cares what other people do?
No. But this is what I'm saying, is that there are people who I watch on the regular who are still using the fucking Midnight Coup, which has a set role, and it came out 2 years ago.
Yeah, but that's fine. They're allowed to do that if they want. Maybe they just really like it. What I'm getting at is that, like, if there was a new role that was just as good or even more wicked on the Midnight Coup, and they put it in the Leviathan that was at current level, and you could go and fucking do the raid right now to go and get it, those people would be in the Leviathan right now. So
I know full well where you're going with, but like you said, I think there's probably
look at what they did with Age of Triumph. I think that was the perfect way to demonstrate this point. Age of Triumph re-released the armor sets for Crota and the Vex, the Volta Glass, and whatever other ornament. There was one other one.
And Wrath of the Machine.
Right, and you had the ornaments. The ornaments for the Vex stuff, you had a freaking Vex leg. If you're a hunter, you got a Vex leg. Shitballs, like that was cool as hell. And the ornament for like Crota's one gave you these like flaming hive horns. like
crystalline hive horns and all that sort of thing.
that
No, I know
shit
full well.
was amazing, and like people were so hyped to go back and then just to get those armor sets and those ornaments, and I think that is what should be aimed for with seasons is that level of like coolness chase.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
when you consider
yeah.
that, like, we haven't even had a vendor reset, like all of
No,
the
I
planetary
know.
stuff. I think that, like, and I have no idea the amount of work that goes into that sort of stuff. I'm sure it's a fuckload. It's nothing I could ever do, and I don't even have the talent in my entire body that the people who make this shit have in the pinky. So I can't question them on that. But, you know, maybe they can employ more people that can do that sort of stuff or what, and, you know, do a bit more. Or maybe
But
they
that's
can do
more-
some
that's more
lower tier
outlay.
rejig stuff. So I don't know.
Employing more people, which is cool because there are a lot of people who don't work Bungie who are fantastic artists and build fantastic models. Like the dude that did the fucking Malfeasance, who built the Malfeasance from scratch and all that sort of shit. That's fucking awesome. And you've got people like Gamma that Matt employs that, you know, do fantastic art and all that sort of shit. But bringing more people on increases the outlay that Bungie has to put out. And now that they are a open quotes independent developer, there's just no scope for that.
How do you know?
I don't.
That's what I'm saying.
No, you're right. You're right. How do I know? 100% right. You're correct. How do I know? I don't. But that's how business works. The
Oh,
more
dude,
people you-
I know,
That's
I know.
the
And
outlay,
it's more
the
outlay, the
outlay.
less return. It's I totally get
Look,
it. But
would you guys agree that we don't think Bungie has found the right financial model for the game?
They have
Destiny?
not. They
no,
have not.
I do agree. I do agree
For
with
what
that.
the game is and for what the community is like, I feel like there it still isn't the correct purchase model.
I'll say this: it's still the cheapest form of entertainment in my life by so far. It's fucking ridiculous.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I'm not. I don't mean it's more like I don't. That's not a criticism saying
I know,
that
yeah.
it's not correctly priced. I just think for what they're trying to do, I just don't feel like this comes back to a conversation about the DLCs. It just doesn't seem to align. I still think there's still value in there, but it's just I don't know. It's not meshing together as well as.
Yeah. It's kind of like you want the middle ground between the old big DLCs and the new thing, right? But you want it at kind of the frequency of this. It's I mean, I know it's a big ask and it's probably impossible.
It must be so frustrating working at Bungie. It would be fucking so frustrating, man.
Yeah, Sloth just called Bungie and told them all of this in 10 seconds.
No,
Just like,
it's,
nah, yeah,
just insurance. Sorry, guys.
You're all right, mate.
See, Darwin comes with a point. Is that if they were to move away, and this is the same for me, if they were to move from this seasonal, almost subscription model, but not really. But if there were longer times in between stuff, and they had like a Forsaken release every 6 to 8 months or something like that, and it was $60, $80, $100 per hit, fuck yeah, I would pay it. I love the game. I just have no want or need to play it at the moment. I really don't. I love watching people play it. I love watching people gush about it. I love having a conversation about it. I love the podcast, the fact that we can talk about the game that we all love.
Yeah.
But I have absolutely no want or need to play it. Like as Butter said as well, people pay more for fucking Netflix and not watch it, or if you're Australia, pay more for Foxtel and not watch it than fucking what we do on a game.
I feel attacked.
I'm fucking guilty of that too. You know, I'm extremely
I literally signed up to Foxtel yesterday so I could start watching Game of Thrones again.
Yeah, like you pay. Well, so till it's $78 a month, and I watched.
I hope I didn't pay that.
I think I watched.
Danny did it. I might be reviewing that subscription.
No, but I've got the sports channels and all that sort of thing as
Yeah,
well.
same.
I've done that. So I pay $78 a month for Foxtel, and I watch 2.5 hours, 3 hours of TV per week.
I think
When Forsaken was when Forsaken first came out, I was playing 20, 30 hours of Destiny per week on stream and off of stream.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
I don't
Look,
know.
it's always going to be the way. In that, if they came out tomorrow and said, "Guess what? We're going to after this content cycle runs out, the new thing will be moving to a completely fucking subscription model, and it's $15 a month." Can you imagine
pay
this
it.
shit hitting a fan? But people will be
Well,
like,
the
"I
thing
can't-
is-
What? People
I can't
The thing is,
afford that."
this technically is a subscription model. It's just
Yeah.
not because
It's
we
just not-
paid for a year and you couldn't buy them separately.
Well,
So
you-
we
you-
technically paid for a year subscription with
Yeah.
the
if they,
annual
if
pass.
they
Agreed.
go off World of Warcraft or if they go off any kind of subscription model, you can pay for a year. That's it. Done and dusted. Move on. And
Yeah,
then
I think that'd
when
be the way
shit
most
comes
people
out-
do it. There'd be a bundle that
shit
came out
comes
with any
out-
content
Yeah.
or whatever.
Yeah, when shit comes out, it's like, yep, hit install, go, yep, fine. Speaking of which, just to break up the chat about business and money and all that sort of thing.
It's fine, man. I didn't really
Um,
intend for it to
No, you're fine.
It's a big subject.
It is a big subject. No, I was playing Insurgency with Matt on Tuesday night, Wednesday morning, and the update came out for Season of the Drifter. And I was like, yeah, cool, no worries. Said to stream, all right, guys, I'll be back in half an hour. It's only gig, whatever. Like I have to end stream to do that because I don't have as powerful net as some people here in this country.
Mhm.
And I hit go, 692 kilobits a second. Okay, that's not right. Close BattleNet, reopen BattleNet, 192 kilobits per second.
It's getting worse.
It's getting worse. Okay, fair enough. Close BattleNet, go for a smoke, make a coffee, come back, open BattleNet, 5 kilobits per second. Right. Figured out that this was an issue. With the launcher. Something has corrupted it, something like that. Let it run for an hour. I was like, fuck it. It was stuck at initialize. Reinstalled the game. Game is 90 fucking gigabytes.
Destiny 2 total.
Destiny
Yeah,
2
she big.
is
Yeah.
90 fucking gigabytes.
It's a big
It
boy.
is a big fucking game. It took me 20,
Thick.
26 hours to fucking download it. You know, like it was
Yep.
because I've got 2 daughters. They've got to do schoolwork and study. You know, I watch YouTube constantly. I don't watch it, but I have it on in the background.
Yeah.
You know, like there's music, Spotify's playing. Fucking my missus is on her laptop studying. It was a big game.
Can we do
It's
a dollars per gigabytes of content calculation?
No. Green Man Gaming did that. It didn't end up well for them.
No. All right. Well, look, that's my
So,
thoughts
I
on it
mean-
anyway. I think that's all of our thoughts kind of summed up unglamorously into one big heap, and you can go through and pick out whatever bits of it you like, and feel free to tweet us and open a discourse with us because really we just
feel
punt
free to
punters
tweet
as
I mean,
us.
well.
all I hope is that now that Bungie has full control over it, they can really take the risk and decide what purchase model suits them as a company, as a developer of Destiny, and go, look, we know our audience. You know, maybe this doesn't make all the money in the world, but we think this is going to suit people, and we know how much content we can make. We can project that, and we can deliver X amount of whatever on this timeline, and we're going to march to our own tune, and this is what it's going to be. And I mean, that's my hope, is that they can sort that out without other people interfering.
There's also another thing that I'd like to.
Hey, man. I just said amen in a strange voice. Never mind. Sorry, Sloth. I didn't mean to offend you.
Yeah,
Rabbi
everything
on
just
us.
broke there for a second. I'm fine. Now, just to call back to last episode, I flew off the handle not off the handle. Don't fly the handle off. I'm trying to keep that a little bit under wraps. But I had a go. I can't remember the person in chat I was having a go at. But we were talking about shareholders and all that sort of thing. Bungie, I will say that I was wrong. Bungie do have shareholders. They do have shareholders.
Yeah,
And
probably the
we'll-
Chinese company, right?
We will make it. I was trying to make the point. Like I was wrong. That person was right. Apologize about that. And what I was trying to say after I got it all in my head is that the shareholders that Bungie have currently don't just care about making all the money in the world. They care about the game and its players and how healthy it is.
Yeah.
They actually care about the title and the target market. They don't just care about, is Destiny 2 making money, Activision? oh, we've only made 500%
500 million.
on our initial investment. Well, we're taking you to court. Like it's not shit like.
Hey, did you see that fucking Activision's being sued?
Oh, wait, right. Hang on. I'm going to play some music and we can wrap up talking about Destiny and start talking about shit. Here we go. Yeah, I'll put the chat up as well. So if you got fucking shit you want to get off your chest, go for it.
So, I mean,
Got
I
shit
don't
on
know.
your chest. Keep that shit in private.
Hey.
Okay.
I
Miss the
haven't-
coffee table.
Look, I'm not the most well informed on this topic. I only saw a couple of videos that are basically the investors of Activision. There had been a class sort of action lawsuit filed because Activision, 2 months before the breakup, said, we have a long relationship with Bungie and continue something like we will continue this long relationship. And then 2 months later, Bungie Activision split and the stock dropped enormously and it stayed very low. And obviously investors were very unhappy with Activision and saying that maybe they withheld information about the Bungie split and potentially going to be sued for it.
Yeah, it's pretty.
Well, I mean,
That's
if you
business.
want to talk, that's business, and if they do get sued, well, hopefully, they sue the people at the fucking top and not just the company as a whole, because the company as a whole has proven that instead of Bobby Kotick and his cunt mates,
Hang on. Good.
Sorry about that.
That's the first flag. You've been red carded for that.
First
That's a
flag.
yellow card. You say it again, you're off the field.
Yeah, say it again. You'll
And
get the limp dick one like this.
But his mate, him and his are more than happy to lay off 800 of their workforce, but not willing to take a pay cut for their workforce.
Yeah.
Yeah, look, the devil wears a fucking corporate suit these days. Let's just we've done this to death. We've done
So,
the devil's
there was-
the CEO
yeah,
of fucking
we have.
something. So
There was something as well. Now this was something that was on Reddit. I glanced over it. A few people in my community talked about it. Apparently, Activision, according to a few prop makers, are sending out cease and desist letters for making Destiny props. Now,
Oh, I haven't heard this topic. This is really interesting.
the edited Reddit post, again, it is Reddit post and a public comment from a prop maker on Twitter, is that they have sent C&D letters to a few prop makers to stop making Destiny.
Who is an Activision or Destiny?
Activision.
But they don't even own the license anymore.
Wait one and I'll find
Okay.
it.
Sorry,
But,
Mylan, shut up. I haven't told the full story yet.
no, it's fine.
Okay.
But they designed by 3D have taken down all their props that they sell for Destiny, and Black Forge Cosplay has done the same. Now, again, this is Reddit. This is only a message to Halifax prop sellers and all that sort of thing. So the initial group behind saying that they've sent out C&Ds was Black Forge props, and it's an interesting point that if it's true, Activision are really overstepping their boundaries because they don't own the license.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe that's an old post, but I guess Bungie 100% would be in their rights to ask people to stop selling
absolutely,
props,
100%.
especially because it could influence their own market. And if they are doing that, it may indicate that they're going to sell props, and that would probably be a really big primer if they're going to start. I mean, they sort of do some they sold Gallahorn for a little bit, right? And they've sold
Yeah.
other stuff. Like,
Yeah.
so, you know, if they really want to jump into the prop market, they 100% win the rights to do that. Just like they 100% are allowed to claim copyright on YouTube videos. The reason why they don't is because there is a nice symbiotic relationship between the free marketing they get from YouTube
I love how you say
creators.
symbiotic and knowing full well it's a parasitic relationship for both sides.
Oh, well, I mean, YouTube's the parasite in that equation.
Yeah,
Anyway,
sure.
moving on.
If it is
No,
true,
it's
definitely-
symbiotic. YouTubers benefit because you make money off Destiny, and Destiny benefits because
Yeah.
they get free marketing.
It's like
Symbiotic.
Venom.
Both sides
And then
That's
benefit.
YouTube
Venom
comes
and it
in
works.
becomes fucking parasite.
What's that?
And then YouTube comes, sticks their fucking filthy head in.
Yeah.
and becomes a parasite.
Yeah.
This is where that video goes. Anyway.
But it's a if the story continues to develop, and Black Forge comes out and says that it's a they have sent a C&D, it's a
Oh, I
It's a
think
big
there'll be lawyering done, and we'll probably never hear
lots of
any of it.
lawyering done.
We'll
Yeah.
probably never hear anything more about
It's-
it.
I
It
mean,
sounds like-
I that area is really hard. It's the same with merchandise. If I put, you know, if they already do this, you can't. If I want to make merchandise for Mylan Games, I can't put Destiny licensed images on it.
No, you can't. Unless you
Right.
got in with your best mate, fucking Mr. Barrett, and said, "Hey mate, do you reckon I could put Destiny?" Fuck off.
I don't think
Yeah.
I don't think
You
the Lord and
dickhead.
Savior works in copywriting somehow. So yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, it's interesting. Like, if that, you know, how much money can they be making off props? And so, I mean, that to me smells like
well,
they
you
want to
say
make more.
that, but
I don't know. Do they make
a lot of people
Maybe.
I think a lot of people buy the props. So you remember, like, if you got the last word, you could buy the last word, or if you got Luna's
Yeah.
Howl, you could buy the 1/4
Yeah. True.
Luna's Howl,
True.
and all that sort of thing. So yes, Bungie have a right. Activision do not. Fuck off, Activision, and your fucking board member mates. You
Oh, just
and all that sort of shit. But no, will they though?
Yeah. I
No.
think I do think props. But then again, okay, if you do it to props, well, then should you do it to artwork?
and should you go
don't
and be
even get-
like
don't even get
hassling
into the-
cosplayers at conventions and there's it's
Well,
just,
I mean, like this is the thing. Like the video that you did, the comic that you did, Matt. You know, like it has things. Well, not it directly references Destiny things, doesn't it? Like exos and shit like that.
Well, yeah, the comic I made
Like-
up would 100% infringe on Destiny and Bungie's copyright,
So
and
don't know.
I pay for that, and I pay for that through Patreon giving donations, which is probably how I get away with it, like donations, which then I donate to Gamma Trap for his
So-
time,
You
for his
fucking
time
pay.
to
like the fucking
make
hive.
it.
The hive. See fucking tithing. It all funnels up to
Well, that's-
Oryx to
that's
Gamma
a-
Trap.
That's a good point, Drunken Guardian. Should they send scene players that replicate their armor for cons? You know, like again, this is a developing story. Open quotes, developing story, and Reddit is not the most reliable of sources, but it's a developing story. And if the precedent has been set. If the precedent has been set that Activision and or Bungie is sending out C&Ds for prop makers, then by rights, and if they win by rights, then cosplayers are in the same boat.
No.
So-
I- look,
so
look,
no, no,
I
no,
think
no,
there's
no,
a
no.
huge
So
difference there,
there's-
man. Like this is
there's-
you're talking about a company making something based on someone else's intellectual property and then selling it. Like, long story short, if they are selling Destiny influenced stuff without having it licensed properly, they're fucking effectively stealing it. You know, like, you know, it's that's it. That's the law. So whether or not, you know, they're doing that, if they're selling things, like producing things and selling them without a license, any company in the world would be well within their right to send them cease and desist letters. I don't think that anything that's manufactured by a fan for a convention will ever be subject to any of that because it's made for themselves by themselves.
But with companies like Electronic Arts out there that will throw a cease or 2K that will throw a cease and desist letter out there for stepping on their fucking grass or anything like that, it wouldn't surprise me.
Okay, so
that
this
they
is what
there's no legal standpoint.
So look, according to YouTube, right? If you look at like fair use and copyright, and this is what I was trying to get at before, there are sort of 4 things which is determined by a judge to analyze if something can be classified as fair use. One is about the commercial nature or if it's for non-profit educational purposes. So I think cosplay is if you're making it yourself, that is a not profit event, right? You're not going to get stung for that. The 4th thing about copyright is the impact or potential impact on market or the value of the copyright work. Making props, and this is why I think that maybe they want to go into that area more, that company making props of Destiny weapons is impacting the market or impacting the value of the market. And so if they want to be selling Galahorns and Thorns and Last Words, a company that doesn't have the license making...
Isn't there companies out there that go to like shit like TwitchCon and GuardianCon and PAX and all that sort of thing that sell replicas and shit like that?
Yeah, but they're breaking the law by doing it, man.
Reference, and I'm not going to drop the name, but the dude that did the malfeasance stuff.
Yeah, but if he's making it for himself, there's no copyright being infringed.
No. He built the malfeasance, but he's selling the coins, the drifter coins.
Yeah, and this is where it gets murky. This is when it gets murky with like artwork because we have plenty of people who sell prints. You know, like we did that with Gamma Trap's work. We sold prints at Guardian Con.
Exactly.
Right? And Bungie actually had a conversation with artists before that, right? I don't know the specifics because I wasn't there, but Gamma Trap was telling me there was a very big conversation with like legal Bungie, the legal team about if we can sell artwork or not. And I believe they let it slide. They're like, you know what? For the community, you can do it. Right?
I understand where you're coming from.
Con, sell artwork, whatever. That could change though. That could change.
But before we continue on. The dude that made the malfeasance and is selling the coins, Log, Matt and I and the DDU, we are not pointing the finger at them.
No. We're just having a talk about
100% sure.
Yeah.
People who have been taking, a person has been taking shit that we have said out of context of late. And just to be sure.
I mean, I could preface that by saying that literally every parody song I've ever put out has been an infringement on copyright in some manner. So I'm hardly gunning for anyone, but you know, look, I think at the end of the day, these things are legal things. Like if Bungie want to inhabit the space or act, I mean, I don't know. It sounds to me, it doesn't add up from the get go. Like Activision aren't going to be chasing, like that's an expensive thing to be doing is legally chasing down small prop makers for shit that they don't even own anymore. I think there's.
With companies like Nintendo out there,
this whole story has a fucking really off smell about it, as far as I'm concerned. So I think we'll see where it goes. It does. I think the other thing that we really need to just say is that just if you are out there making these sorts of things, just bear this sort of shit in mind. Like I know what I'm doing with my stuff on the internet, and I've kind of planned in how I'm going to go about it so that if shit does happen, I can basically turn around and say to whoever publishes the song, look, just fucking take it. I don't care. I don't want I'm not, in it for the money or anything. None of my shit's monetized. So if you are planning on fucking making Destiny props, I would urge you to seriously consider whether or not you sell them. Because that is the point at which it crosses the line. The end.
Well, there was a good point in chat that it's, under fair use, it needs to be a derivative of the work. So, talking about artwork, we don't sell we don't take what Bungie's already made artwork and get Gamma Trap to reproduce it. Gamma Trap uses the universe to create new pieces, which you could probably argue is under
But
fair
what
use.
is fair use? Fair use is such a fucking legal grey area. Look at YouTube.
It is.
Look at YouTube. Like, I would actually go as far to say, now I know Log disagrees with me in some respects, is that fair use, all of his songs are.
I totally didn't just cut Sloth off then. Like, that did not happen. That was just a glitch in the internet.
Oh,
you cut out for that whole sentence.
Oh, fantastic. Awesome. No, what I was saying is that your stuff, I fully believe that it is parody, and parody is protected under fair use. Now, I know that you don't agree with me, but that's how I understand fair use. But the thing is, though, fair use, it's such a grey area that even the people who write the fucking laws don't know. Like, they can't put into words or they can't put into writing how to interpret the laws.
Well, there's also very little precedent, and that's part of the issue too.
There is very little precedent.
Because what needs to happen is someone actually needs to follow through with suing someone else, and we need someone to make a ruling and actually establish some precedent on this. And everyone basically backs out when we get fucking in front of the judge, except for people like H3H3, which is probably one of the few examples of someone who's actually gone to court over it.
I'll tell you this, Matt.
$150,000 in fucking lawyer fees.
If I get a major label come after me, I will absolutely follow through in my pants. Just, yes, you can have it. I don't care. Goodbye. All right. Well, that wraps up this episode of Copyright Down Under.
So just to close out,
disclaimer:
guys,
we are not lawyers. We have no lawyer background, and this is not legal advice. Thank you.
Good. Well done there. You actually got it off without Mike messing it up. I'm very proud of you. So Bungie bounties, just to wrap it up, guys. Bungie bounties, Gambit Prime, March 13th, 10 a.m. Pacific, the Xbox Bungie bounty. March 20th, 10 a.m. Pacific, PS4 Bungie bounty. April 3rd, 10 a.m. Pacific, the PC Bungie bounty. So if you want to check those out, twitch.tv/Bungie. I'm sure that they'll be streamed, and you guys may have a chance to get up against some dudes from Bungie to play some games in.
Wait, when they say Bungie bounty, they're talking about against people at Bungie, not like content creator Bungie bounties.
No, they're doing them in house now because it was you caused too much trouble when you did it, Matt.
Yeah. It was too scuffed when you did it, Matt. It was too scuffed.
Which sucks because they're doing it at 10 a.m. their time, which is bullshit o'clock.
No. But do you know what? Do you know what this is also a result about? Is obviously before it was the Activision marketing team that would find the Bungie and organize people from the community. And it is much easier for them to keep everything in house now than having to have people chase down content creators, work out their schedules, organize them, go back to Bungie, say we can do these guys on these days and this time, and they can stream on Twitch or YouTube, and their platform's going to be PC or like, we'll just do it at Bungie.
Yeah, just do it at Bungie.
Look, I'll volunteer to find people for them to do it. It'll be me every week, and everyone will get an emblem because I'm shit. Good guy Log, dying all over the fucking place.
Just give everyone just give everyone
just for Chucky Wookie. Just
all
for
right,
Chucky
hang on,
Wookie.
Sloth. I've got an idea, mate. Remember how a while back I did the uplifting music? I think you should do an uplifting outro this week.
Okay.
Or I'll give you the choice. Actually, I'll give you the choice:
And-
uplifting, sad, or angry.
And hold on.
Right.
And before we start this, can I do a
Before we start this, fuck you.
before we start this fucking
The longest part of
journey
the
into the outro, can I please request
Yes.
a video to send people after this rather than a raid? And what I would like to say is, as I said at the beginning, it was a tough PhD week, and I was like, fuck, why am I doing this? And then my supervisor sent me a link to a YouTube video by Good Game Spawn Point, which is a TV series on ABC. Was one of my favorite shows to watch, just the good game part. And one of the girls who has autism that's part of my program is talking about gaming. And she talks about the project that is pretty much my PhD, and it was really nice. So if I could ask to send people there after that would be cool.
Yeah, just put the link in chat. Bloody oath.
Yeah.
It sounds like a great thing.
All right.
Kick it off.
Firstly and foremostly, our good friend, our previous guest on the podcast and good dude, A Fractured Winky. It is his birthday today, and he is not very well. So, happy birthday, Winky. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for watching our live cast. Thank you for bearing with us. Thank you for the questions. Thank you for the statements and all of the things that we do here on the live one. Yeah. Better hit the second one. To our audio-only listeners, thank you very much for your continued patronage. If you have questions, queries, doubtful points, let us know. If you're watching on, please make sure that you hit that like button, the subscribe button, and the notification bell. We upload once a week if you feel so inclined to check it out. If we have missed anything in the podcast, or if you would like to get in touch with us, please firstly know exactly what the fuck you're talking about before you bring it to us, because 9 times out of 10 we'll just look at you like a dickhead if you're a dickhead. And if you have any questions, queries, doubtful points, please let us know on Twitter or let us know on the in the comments below. We've been the Destiny Down Under podcast. My arm is fucking aching. Go fuck yourself, Chalk.
All right, well, there we go. I don't think I can top that.
The law will find you, and I'm not talking about the LORE. I'm talking about the LAW. Check your mail, cease and desist, motherfucker.
You should let me know. Why did you put the angry music on? All right, see you next week. Bye. There we go.